So first, I'm going to ask you, what is your name?
Okay, my name is Bruce Hawkins.
Okay.
I grew up in Indianapolis, and I happen to be in Shoals because my family history is here.
Okay.
Grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, so.
So what year was it whenever you enlisted, and how old were you?
1966 when I enlisted. It's the same year I got out of high school, graduated in 66. And I was 17 years old when I graduated, one of the youngest people in my class. And I thought I was going to go to college. It was interesting. Senior year, you talk to your guidance counselor about what you're going to do. And first 2 years in school, I did real well. Took the hard subjects well. After my sophomore year, I started working, got a car, started driving, going to parties. As a result, my grades suffered. I talked to the guidance counselor, and he said, "What do you want to do next year?" I said, "Well, I think I'll go to Purdue University." And he started laughing. He said, "Not with these grades, you're not going to go to Purdue." He said, "You better come up with plan B." So that's when I started thinking about joining the service. So in my family history, going way back, all my uncles served World War II, grandfather served, great-grandfather served the Civil War, all the way back to the American Revolution. So that was something that just kind of seemed to be like
You're calling
the next thing to do, you know.
Okay.
All my ancestors had done it, so I thought, and the Vietnam War was heating up, and I thought, well, maybe I should go do my part.
So what branch did you join?
I joined the Navy because my dad was in the Navy in World War II, and I thought, well, there'd probably be something in there that I could learn that I might be able to use when I get out. And that's another interesting story. And I guess you can cut out whatever parts you don't need on this.
Oh, yeah.
But when I went to basic training in Great Lakes, you take a lot of different classes. And part of those tell you all the different jobs that the Navy has. So I said, I thought I wanted to be an aviation machinist mate so I could work on jet engines, something I could use when I got out. Well, the individual that was talking to me said, "Well, Snon, your eyes aren't good enough for that." I said, "Oh, no." So how about aviation ordnance? That's where you load the bombs on the planes and the ammo and stuff. And he said, "No, son, your eyes aren't good enough." I said, "Oh, no." I was beginning to think, what am I going to do? So a friend of mine, his father was a gunner's mate in the Navy. So I said, "How about gunner's mate?" And he said, "No problem, son, you got it." I thought, how kind of sense does this make? Why wouldn't my eyesight make a difference as a gunner's mate? Well, they needed gunner's mates, that's what it was. You know, they let you think you have a choice, but they will basically put you where they need you. And at that time, with Vietnam heating up, they needed a lot of gunner's mates. So that's how I happened to get into that, to the Navy.
What skills did you learn from the military that you still use today?
I think how to take orders and then leadership. You know, once you progressed in rank, you know, you need to be able to lead somewhat. So at the time, I don't think I was really thinking about that, but as you spend time in and you develop, you know, you develop certain skills, and one of them was, you know, to get people to do something, you have to have somebody leading, and I think that's one thing that I learned while I was in there.
How many days were there that you regretted joining?
None, really. There were some days that were, you know, tougher than others, but never was there any time that I didn't want to be there, you know. Maybe someplace else, but never that I regretted joining.
How much time did you serve for?
I had 3 years. The Navy had a program, so if you were under age 18, you could join for 3 years. Normal enlistment was 4 years. So I went in when I was 17 and got out before I was 21. So actually, 1 day short of 3 years. Went on in October 11th, 1966, and got out October 10th, 1969. So it was 3 short years, but I got to do a lot. in those 3 short years. So, and it went by pretty quickly. And I almost re-enlisted. I made rank pretty quickly, and once you progress up the ladder, things change. You're, passing orders down. You're not at the bottom of the chain receiving all the orders. So anyway, I almost re-enlisted, but I made the mistake of coming home, and I met a girl and changed my plans.
How many friends that you made back in the Navy that you are still in contact with?
I've still got probably 6 people that I remain in contact with. That's from the very beginning. Some of us went in about the same time, went to gunner's mate school, went aboard the same ship, and then my first ship was an aircraft carrier. I thought that was kind of boring out there in the middle of the ocean. We were off the coast of Vietnam, launching planes against North Vietnam, and being the gunner's mate, we had, 4 big old guns on that ship, but they would seldom ever get used. We did fire them, but I thought that was kind of boring for a gunner's mate. If you're on the flight deck, it's busy. You're busy all the time. But gunner's mate didn't have a whole lot to do in my particular spot. So that's when I decided I would volunteer to go to Vietnam on a small riverboat, because I knew they had them, and didn't know exactly what I'd be doing until I got there. In training, you go over things as much as you can, but you don't know exactly what it's going to be like until you actually get into combat. And that was what you hope that you will do everything that you're trained, and most people do. It's not, it's not difficult to shoot back when you're getting shot at. So I got there first of all, on that carrier I was on for one tour over off the coast of Vietnam, and we came back to the States, and then I got orders to go to this small riverboat, so we went through survival school, a lot of other training, weapons training, and various things before we went over. Got over there in February 1968, and the Big Tet Offensive started just before that. So it was a very busy time. The whole year was after that. I got there in February, was wounded the first time in April. I got hit in the left rear, same place Forrest Gump got hit, and spent about 10 days in the hospital then, and then the next month, the first boat I was on got hit and sank. So that was an experience there, and luckily we had a Navy photographer with us that day, and he got some good photographs of that. Otherwise, it'd been another day; nobody would have seen it. And then later in the year, in September, I got hit again with shrapnel from a rocket, side of the head and the legs a little bit, and I had 28 days in the hospital that time. So after that, I was getting a little nervous. So, and then I was able to come home 23rd of December 1968. Is when I left Vietnam. They told me I could go home, because the Navy had a program. If you were wounded 3 times of any kind, you could go home. Also, if you had a major broken bone, leg, arm, major head wound, or very serious wound, naturally you'd be taken out of the country. If you were wounded twice and in the hospital, I don't know, so many days each time, you could go home. So this memorandum came out, and the lieutenant said, well, you can go if you want, And it was pretty sudden, because they were getting ready to go up towards the Cambodian border. All the boats were. So I got about an hour to talk to my buddies, and I, didn't want to leave that suddenly, but everyone that I talked to said, well, you'd be a fool to stay. So I said, okay. So got my gear together, got off the boat, and then got home to Indianapolis Christmas Eve, 1968. So, very fortunate to do that.
If you could, would you go back and do it all again?
Yes, I would. Yeah, if my country needed me, yes, I would. It's parts of that, excuse me, I wouldn't want my son or others to do, but if I was needed, I would go.
What was your favorite part when you were serving?
I think the biggest thing was probably the friends that you meet and the feeling that you were doing something good for your country. A lot of days, some days are tougher than others, but the entire time wasn't terrible. Parts of it were, but I think the people that you meet were probably one of the biggest benefits of being in the service.
What was one thing that kept you going whenever you were in?
Just not being one to quit. Millions of other people have done it. So I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So, parts that were tough, like the survival school, was you learned a lot there. You can do more than you think you can if you're pushed to that point. So, and I think that was a good thing to know, that you can do more than you think. If you're never pushed, you don't know how much you can do. So I think that was a big part of it too.
Well, I want to appreciate you for coming out here and letting me talk to you about this.
Well, I appreciate you students having the interest in wanting to do that. So, from all us veterans, thank you.
Here with Evan Diamond. So, what part of the military did you serve in, and how many years?
I was in the Navy. I was a bosun's mate. I joined in 2011, and I got out in 2015, so 4 years.
How did you stay in touch with family while on the boat?
Primarily email. When we had service, which wasn't always the case. Sometimes we couldn't send or receive emails, but primarily through email was our main. When we would pull into port, we would have access to go out in town and buy a cell phone or a phone card and use that, but while underway, primarily through email.
What was your best memory while serving?
My best memory. I would say one of my proudest memories, which I guess would make it my best, is when I made E4. So in the Navy, to go from E3 to E4, you have to take an exam, and there's other factors that contribute into it, but the exam is a big portion of it. And I spent a lot of time studying and reading manuals and asking my fellow shipmates questions that had already taken the exam before. And they helped me a lot too. And I think whenever they made the announcement and who all advanced, and I was one of them, that it was one of my prouder moments, that all that hard work and the late nights of studying, it finally paid off. And it was a nice feeling.
What was the food like?
I am a picky eater, so it took some adjusting. It wasn't all bad, and there was a lot of stuff that I tried for the first time ever in my life that I will never try again. But overall, I'd say it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it definitely wasn't that good either.
So I know I asked you the question, what was your favorite memory? What was one of your favorite parts while serving?
I would say getting to see the world. So I was in the Navy, and I'd done 3 deployments in 4 years. And I got to see I was an East Coast sailor, so I'd seen a bunch of Europe and the Middle East, and being a young guy from a small town Shoals, I'd never seen a Navy ship or anything like that, never been to another country before I joined. And I think getting to see that and experience it was one of my favorite parts of being in the service.
So what was one of the reasons you joined? What kind of got your mind to that set of like, I need to do this, or I want to do this?
So my dad served in the Air Force, and my grandfather served in the Army. And to me, it just felt like something I needed to do to carry on that tradition, that they done it, so I should too.
Were there any days that you kind of regretted joining at all, or was it just more hardships?
I don't think I ever regretted joining, but there were hard days. There were hard weeks. Again, I got to the ship 6 days before we deployed. And I'd never seen a Navy ship. I'd never been on a ship. And so from going from 0 to that on a 10-month deployment was tricky at first. But no, I don't think I ever regretted joining. But there was a lot of hard days and hard weeks.
Do you still keep in contact with any of the members or friends that you made while in the Navy?
Absolutely. I still have a bunch of my friends that I stay in contact with and still go visit, or they come see me. I think it's one of the greatest parts about being in the military is you are going to make friends for life. I don't think that there is a single state in this country that I could go to that if I needed somebody's couch to crash on for a couple of days, that I couldn't find somebody that I served with that wouldn't take me in for a couple of days. Like, you make friendships for life. It's a bond that there's no other bond like it.
Now, I know this is one of our shorter interviews, but if you could, would you go back and do it again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I just said, you're going to make friendships and memories with other people that haven't experienced that are never going to fully understand. And you get a sense of pride from doing it.
All right. Thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome.